Welcome back to the Packard build. So now we've moved on to the rear suspension. Okay, so we've cut the suspension out. This pinion is off, but instead of cutting the floor right now, I just wanted to see where it would sit. You can see this side about 3/8 of an inch. This side's about 3/4 of an inch. So it's close, it's not good enough. So we're gonna get into cutting. We'll do a C-notch back here. I'll probably take it up into the floor because we have to mount the bags above axle anyway. So we'll get all that set up. We'll get a 4-link in here and clear the floor enough for it. So on this one, I think we're gonna end up clearing to maybe just the front edge of the back seat. This interior was just redone, so I don't want to cut too much into it. We'll leave the carpet. We'll do very minimal cutting. So hopefully it goes as planned, but we'll figure that out once we trash into it. But the C-notch is in. So we just did a small C-notch, plated the inside, did a plate on the inside of the frame as opposed to the outside. So when you look from the side, all you see is the semicircle pipe. But it is reinforced 3/16 against this wall here, and then has this plate on the outside. It's welded to here as well as all the way around, and then the axle sits up in there. So what we're looking at now is this 4-link. So we've got our pinion set. We cut as much of the floor as we needed to. We didn't go any further. We did have to cut for the pumpkin to clear and clear this back piece here. So we'll reinforce this back, arching a piece of steel around it once we figure out what our lift looks like. So what I'm messing with right now is I got to cut these brackets off. They're going to absolutely suck. I don't want to do it, but I'm going to. And then I got to cut the tail end of this bracket off of the 4-link, cut the emergency brake bracket off and remount that. At another point I did bend it up to see if that would work. It doesn't. But I want to get these 4-link bars as long as possible. So I want this to be back here. We'll sit in this pocket right around there. So we're not going to get that far back, but we are going to utilize this area where it needs to be. So I didn't film all the cutting, grinding, welding, because we all know what cutting, grinding, welding looks like, and a lot of it. But now we are moving on to cutting this out. We'll plate this section of frame. We'll plate this section of frame here where the bracket's going to go to. When we cut this piece off of here, we'll come off of here with a gusset and gusset on the bottom and put the strength back into it. Then we'll figure out what the distance is off the frame for these. We've already got our rear end pinion set, distance set for each side, so it's in here the way that it would be for a drop. We've got it all cleared off. All the brackets are off the rear end. That was super fun. So I'm gonna just start cutting these brackets out here, and then we'll start doing we're gonna have to do a bent upper bar for the 4-link. The lower bar will be straight, and then we can start to look at where these bags are going to go, because my idea of where I wanted it to work I think is still going to work. We're just going to modify the concept a little bit. So I'm going to get to cutting again. I'm not going to make this video super long with lots of cutting and screwing around, so I'll bring you back when we're at a good stage. I haven't filmed too much. It's been a lot of cutting, grinding, welding, a lot of the same, so didn't want to do all that. We've got that in other videos. Just wanted to get it done, show you what it looks like. So we've got our 4-link in. We went behind the axle for the bags. I'm still going to strengthen up this piece up here and plate it in, and then where I notched out for the rear end, I'll plate that in too. But our 4-link is in. Boxed in the frame, did a small C-notch. Went really well. Obviously I've had to travel it all the way down just to get the tires back on this thing. It's a pain to get these tires on and off. I had to let all the air out, stuff them in there, and then air them back up. But we've got our e-brake cables are mounted on our upper arms. Still got to adjust the e-brake control there, or the e-brake cable. Our panhard's in. I had to go with a longer panhard. I did buy a panhard kit, but it wasn't long enough. So got a new DOM pipe and lengthened that out. But the 4-link, cut the 4-link 3 inches and re-tapped the ends. And then the lower bag mounts, like we said, come off the 4-link bracket and weld on both sides. The inners have a slight bend to kick them out. The outers are straight back. And then there's a gusset down. Sorry, it's dark in here. There's a gusset down through here as well. So it's coming along really well. We got the drive shaft tunnel done. It's all welded. In the trunk, oh, we'll have to grab a ladder. In the trunk, we did a little notch there for the rear end to come up through, and then we managed to tuck the tank and compressors underneath this side, and he had a full paneled trunk in here, so that'll hide behind the trunk. So I still got to figure out where I'm going to mount the manifold. It's a 3-piece system by Airlift, but I've got all the fittings I need now. I just got to figure out where to put that. I really want to hide it. I don't want to have it exposed since the rest of it is going to be all hidden. So I'll figure out where I can put that. We'll get it all plumbed up, get it tested, and I still got to do front and rear shocks and all the wiring for the kit. So probably in the next video we'll figure out where we're putting the controller. We'll get all the management wired, plumbed, figured out, and then we'll do the shocks in the final video, well, in the second final video, and then the final video will be the walk around, looking at it, seeing the lift. It lays frame super hard with minimal drive shaft tunnel, which I was really impressed with. But I don't know what I have to do to modify the rear seat. The rear seat base is the only thing that needs to be modified in this car. I tried to keep everything for the upper really tight to the original location, so I didn't have to cut that. So we'll see. I do want to get the car out of the garage to put the interior back in. I think it'll be the safest way, and then I can modify from there. But for this video, car's back together. I do have to get the rear bags in, RE7 bags. With they're going to be a bit tight to get in, just with the window I gave myself, so I could give as much steel wrap around that bag pocket as possible. But really happy how it's turned out. It looks awesome. The lift shouldn't be any concern. I had it lifting, or I had it traveling over a foot, but I had to disconnect the panhard bar. The pinion comes into the panhard, not pinion, the rear end snout comes into the pinion, or you know what I mean. Okay, well, we'll see you in the next video. We'll get the air management setup all done and move on from there. Thanks for watching.